dendrites in the axon. Now, this bottom part on the second page, this is just on the skin model. This is just a skin model. Everything up here is from the slides. So I think I identified 12 slides that you need to be able to identify. We're not going to look at smooth muscle, but there will probably be a half a dozen questions off this. And axon. Okay, so these are the things down here you need to know about the skin model. You see I had 4 questions back there. You're going to have at least 4, maybe more, on the skin model for your practical. So you need to know these. There's going to be 6 slides. Okay, so when you look at these models over here, there are several things I can ask about several of them, right? There's several of them that have more than one kind of tissue that you're supposed to be able to identify. So if we're looking at the eye, how many tissues are you supposed to be able to identify? 2. Skeletal muscle, smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle is on the outside of the eyeball. It's what allows your eyes to move, rotate around, okay? And then the smooth muscle is here in the iris. And it contracts. If there is a large amount of light, it will close down the pupil. If there's less light, it will relax and open it up. Okay? Is it voluntary or involuntary? Involuntary. Is skeletal muscle voluntary or involuntary? Which one's striated? The skeletal. The smooth is not. Okay. On this, there's only one thing that I'm going to be asking you about this. This, of course, is a ligament. Ligaments attach bone to bones. And what is this made of? Dense fibers. Dense fibers of connective tissue. Now, there will be some hyaline on the surfaces of the bone. When they articulate, there's hyaline on the surfaces of the bone, but on this particular model, I'm going to ask you about the ligaments, and that's dense fibers. Okay, here's our neuron. This part of it has the cell body, of course, and then each one of these little projections is what? Dendrites. What do? They get information from receptors, right? And then that will pass through the cell body, and the information will be sent away by way of the axon. Where does it go? To the central nervous system, right? To process it. And then it will come back, and you will have some kind of response. Okay, how many tissues can I ask you about the trachea?
2.
3.
3.
What is the outside of the trachea? What is lining the inside of the trachea? Pseudostratified,
I'll look at you.
columnar epithelium. What is this?
The flappy
What is
thingy.
the structure?
Epiglottis.
It is made of elastic, right? Okay. Now, this is the model for the respiratory system. What I could ask you about the alveoli and capillaries, and that is simple squamous epithelium, right? Diffusion, lots of diffusion. Here's a trachea, though, so what could I ask you here? Hollow cartilage,
If I'm able.
okay, the ear, you only have one tissue that you're supposed to be able to identify. What is it? Elastic. Okay. The heart, there's only supposed to be one tissue. Cardiac muscle. Voluntary or involuntary?
Involuntary.
Involuntary. Is it striated? Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It is
striated.
striated, but it's like branchy looking.
It's branched. Okay. What is the tissue that's in the intervertebral disc and in the pubic symphysis? Fibrocartilage. Okay, what's the tissue in the bladder? Transitional what?
Epithelium.
Epithelium. Cellular components. You're supposed to be able to identify the cell membrane or the plasma membrane, the entire nucleus, the nuclear membrane or the nuclear envelope. What's this? Mitochondria. And what are these little white dots?
Ribosomes.
Okay. what can I ask you about the bone?
Spongy, compact,
The shaft is compact, right?
and yellow and red.
The ends are spongy. What's made in the spongy bone? Red marrow. Yellow marrow is in the shaft.
Okay.
All right. 2 questions on the muscle man. I can ask you 2 questions. Anything that's pink is going to be what?
Muscle.
What kind of muscle?
Skeletal.
Skeletal muscle. Okay. What is all this gray-white stuff?
Ligament.
This is tendons primarily, and what's the tissue?
Dense fibers, connective
Dense
tissue.
fibrous connective tissue. Tendons attach muscles to bones. Ligaments attach bone to bone.
Okay.
Okay? But they're made of the same material.
Muscle is bone to bone.
Tendons.
Tendons,
No, I'm trying
ligaments are bone to bone.
to ligament. Okay.
Okay, and tendons are muscle to
That's what
bone.
I got. Okay.
Okay, what is this a model of?
Stomach.
No,
Intestine.
it's the small intestine, right? This is the spleen.
Oh, that's the spleen.
It's
I thought that was
lined with simple columnar, right? But what is the outside here? What is the tube? Smooth. It's smooth. Smooth muscle.
Oh, okay.
That's smooth
Smooth
muscle.
muscle. That makes up the muscle that moves the material down through your digestive tract.
Peristalsis.
Peristalsis, yes. Okay. All right. I can ask you all kinds of questions about this skin model. You should be able to identify the epidermis. That's from here up, right?
Yep.
The dermis is between the epidermis and the hypodermis. And then what is this bottom layer?
Subcutaneous.
Hypodermis or subcutaneous. Nurses generally use subcutaneous. That's how you get shots. Sub-Q or IM. Okay. Now, you're supposed to know 2 layers on the epidermis. What are they? Stratum corneum, epidermis. Stratum corneum and stratum basilae. What does basilae mean?
Right base.
On the base. Where is it on here?
The pink.
This purple line.
But I thought that was the papillary layer.
It's the lowest layer of the epidermis.
Okay. Is
And
it?
it is in contact with the dermis here, and that contact makes the papillary.
Okay.
Okay? So, this whole layer up here is stratum corneum. This little bitty purple line on these little finger, that is your stratum basilae. And everything from there down to the adipose is dermis. But we have 2 layers in the dermis that you're supposed to identify, right?
Yeah.
What is this whole layer here called?
Oh,
Papillary layer. What is this region called?
reticular.
Reticular. But the whole area is the dermis. And it has all the sense receptors. It has hair follicles, sweat glands, sebaceous glands.
Okay.
Do you know where they are?
Yes.
Okay. And most of this hypodermis or subcutaneous is fat. It's adipose.
Okay.
Okay, what can I ask you about this nephron model? The kidney nephron model.
That green part right there.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part.
What can I ask you about this?
What's that?
What you mean? What can?
Was it cuboidal?
Cuboidal.
It's cute.
Simple cuboidal.
Cuboidal, yeah.
This has been out here all this time.
We never looked at
Simple
I've never looked
cuboidal. This is
That's
the
simple.
kidney
That's the
model.
only one though.
But this is an
Simple
individual
cuboidal.
nephron.
Yeah, but it's got the little blocks because the nephrons and you get like nephritis or some sort of infection. Anyways, I know.
Nephritis.
Nephritis. It is
Nephritis.
nephritis.
It's an
And your
infection of
nephrons
the
and it's like
kidneys.
little square things and she gets hung up in them.
Anyway, this filters
Good one. Do what?
the blood. It actually allows filtration from the blood to go into these tubules. Okay?
That's a nephron that hold around.
Are you in
This
lecture
is
next?
actually just
I'll
part
write
of the
down my
nephron.
name.
This is called the glomerulus.
That's the top
It's
part.
right here.
Okay.
Or the
And then all of
her
these
name?
little tubules are here. So all the tubules are lined with simple cuboidal. This is how your urine gets filtered. This is how you produce urine. Okay, from excess fluid. It Any questions?
Is that the only question that you can ask about?
That's the only question I can ask about this, and it's almost a gimme, isn't it?
Simple cuboidal. Simple cuboidal.
Simple cuboidal.
Everyone get that one
You
right.
need to, when you're writing down the tissue types, you need to write the whole name.
Oh,
You're gonna put that at the